Fantastic. You are all very welcome to this talk this evening, this presentation on MH101, which is our Bachelor of Arts degree at the CAO Information Evening. I'm delighted to be here. My name is Fionnuala Finnegan and I work in the admissions office at Maynooth University. I am the student recruitment officer. And to my left on my screen anyway is my dear colleague Kay Mitchell, who is the guru in the admissions office and is part of the schools liaison team. So if there are any guidance counsellors here or principals here that would like a talk, Miss Kay Mitchell is the lady to approach for that. k.mitchell@mu.ie. And if there's anyone here from a College of Further Education that would like a QQI talk or an exhibition, which are not taking place, but hopefully later in the year or sometime into 2023, then I am the person that you can ask about that. We're just letting people join us here this evening for this 8 to 9 talk. While we're letting people in, while we're waiting for people to join us, Kay, I'm just going to now share my screen. And so you might tell me if A, that works, and B, if you can see it switching on and everything.
Yes, that is absolutely perfect.
I know this is a bit clunky, so
no,
apologies
it's not in the
for
least
that.
bit clunky. No, it's all perfect.
I think I'm at the end of the presentation, so how do I go back?
Just stop share and just go up to the top of it.
There we go. Apologies.
That's it. That's it.
Up to the top, folks. And here
That's
we
it.
click this bit here. And we already know we'll be commencing shortly. So we're about to commence now. That's all worked fine there for you, Kay,
That's
has it?
perfect. It's absolutely perfect and it's all visible.
Amazing. Great. So I've introduced myself and I've introduced Kay, and we know that we're here on the arts talk this evening. If anyone has any questions, and I really hope that you have lots of questions because we do cover quite a good bit of information here today, and you might be hearing this information for the first time, particularly if you're a parent or maybe you're a mature student, or maybe you're leaving cert and you haven't heard it either. That's absolutely fine. So my point is you can send us an email at any point to myself, fionnuala.finnegan@mu.ie, which is my own specific email, or you can email admissions if you have a general admissions inquiry to admissions@mu.ie. The admissions telephone number is there. It's 01-708-3822, and my telephone number is above it. That's my work one. We have a fantastic function, okay, called Ask. Okay, so if you're on your laptop or on your telephone, you will see when you click on the home page that this little chat function, I won't call it a chat bot because behind the chat function are ourselves. Every day from 9 until 5, if you have a question that you would like to ask us that is admissions related, you can pop it in there. We are obviously on all of the social media platforms as well. For I know all the students definitely like Snapchat and Instagram, not so much Twitter or Facebook, but for the oldies like myself, we're on Twitter and Facebook as well. So there you go. So without further ado, let's get into the nuts and bolts of why we're here this evening. Don't forget, folks, if anyone has any questions, pop them into the Q&A because Kay will be there fielding those throughout the evening. And we can then hopefully have some interaction at the end of the presentation, and we can, talk live about whatever questions that you may have. And there might be a theme. There's usually recurring questions that come up that we can maybe go over. So MH101 is the CAO code for the Bachelor of Arts degree. So if anyone joining us here this evening is interested in applying to the CAO and interested in the arts degree, then MH101 is the CAO code that you're going to need. It is a 3-year degree, but we'll also discover that if you decide to go abroad for a year, you can graduate after 4 years and you'll have a BA International. But the arts degree in its simplest form is a 3-year degree. We're going to have a look now, folks, at the minimum entry requirements. I always tell students to really, regardless of whether they're interested in the arts or law or business, science, engineering, psychology, whatever degree they're interested in, whether it's a Maynooth or another university, to always focus on these 3 things. What are the minimum entry requirements for the degree that I'm interested in studying? Does this particular degree have any extra course requirements that I need to be mindful of? It could be a 3rd language, it might be a higher level maths, it could be a higher level Irish or a language, whatever the case may be. It's important when you're doing your research and when you're applying to the CAO that you have all of these things in place. You don't want to be disappointed then when the results come out and figure out that you don't qualify. The CAO points then in 2021 are a guideline, and they refer to the cutoff points. So in the Bachelor of Arts degree, there are a lot of places available for students. So we have approximately 1,600 plus places available for students. So how do the points work? The points work on the last person to fill the place that's available on that degree are the cutoff points for that particular degree for that particular year. Okay, and that's why points fluctuate. Okay, so it is about the amount of places available and the demand for those places available on the degree, and then how well the Leaving Certs do in that particular year. Okay, so a number of years ago, the points for the cutoff points for the arts degree were about 350. So the last person, the 1,599th person had 360 points, and last year the 1,599 person had 338 points, and that's the way it works. Okay, but lots of places available for everyone, so we do endeavor to be able to give all of those people who are interested in the arts degree a place at Maynooth. Okay, so languages and exemptions. So if we have a look here at the Leaving Cert subjects, so the CAO works on, it takes your 6 best Leaving Cert subjects. The minimum entry requirements then for the arts degree is 2 H5 and 4 O6 H7. Okay, so 2 honours and 4 passes, which is old school, 2 H5 and 4 ordinary O6 or H7. For the Bachelor of Arts degree, then you need a pass in Irish, English and a third language. Okay, and there really is no way of getting around that unless you have an Irish language exemption or a third language exemption. If you have either of those exemptions, you will know that you will have applied to the NUI, because they are the people that award the exemptions. If you haven't applied and you feel like you do qualify for a language exemption, be it Irish or a third language, then you need to contact the NUI at their head office, www.nui.ie. And when you click on their website, actually, you can see there's a little place that has called quick links, and then it'll give you the Irish language exemption and the third language exemption, that you can download the forms and fill them in, and then you send them off to the CAO. And then when the time is right, we then can access those forms and yes, John has a language exemption, and we can then offer you a place on that. The only other way around that, folks, if you don't have a third language and you do not qualify for an exemption, but you are extremely interested in the arts degree, and maybe this is the first time you're hearing this information, and without disappointing you, you could potentially do a QQI course. So QQI is an award that you get if you decide to go to a college of further education and do either a year 1, a 1-year course at level 5, or a 2-year course at level 6, and you would graduate with what is called a QQI certificate. It used to be called FETEC, but now they've changed it to QQI. Okay, we have lots of degrees, lots of links with colleges of further education that have linked programs into us at Maynooth. If you'd like to know more information about that, if you Google QQI linked degrees at Maynooth University, it'll bring you straight to the page. And if you are interested in potentially maybe taking a year out, it's been a difficult year. Well, you're not really taking a year out, because you're going to be, work will be demanded of you in the PLC. But I mean, if you wanted to just take a step back and do a PLC for a year in one of the subjects that are, related to the subjects that are on offer at the arts degree, just to take the pressure off yourself a little bit, then absolutely you can do that. And just make sure that the course that you're interested in does in fact have links into us, and they are all listed there. Typically, if it's a 1-year course, it starts with 5M, and if it's a 2-year course, it'll start with 6M. We also have mature students, lots of mature students at Maynooth University, which really adds to the eclectic feel on campus. So we have lots of Leaving Cert students, lots of students who have come in from a PLC, either 1 or 2 years, and lots of mature students as well. The mature student entry route is slightly different. Yes, you absolutely have to apply to the CAO before the 1st of February, similarly to everyone else. And you could put down MH101 if it is the arts degree that you're interested in. But when you're applying, you would also tick the mature entry route. So what qualifies you as a mature student? You have to be over 23 by by the 1st of January year of entry. So the year of entry for this year, if we're thinking about a September 2022 start point, would be January 2022. Okay, so the process there is a little bit different for matures. Typically, you fill in the CAO and a personal statement. Maybe then with the arts degree, you would definitely have to have an interview as well. And then we would talk all about your preparedness and your motivation for returning to education. So that's the mature student entry route. So we've mentioned the 6 best subject from the CAO, your 2H5 and your 406H7, the pass in Irish, English and a third language, and the points as a guideline, because it's only ever a guideline, they can fluctuate up or down each year depending on all those pointers that we've mentioned. So 338 for this year or a little bit higher, so as you're not disappointed. Okay, so broad entry degree. So what is an arts degree? What is the arts degree? Why is it so popular? It does continue to remain one of the top choices for Leaving Cert students and for all of the QQI and mature students as well, because it offers a lot of choice and a lot of flexibility. So it's broad entry, many subjects to choose from. You're in the driving seat. You choose what you would like to study. And again, offers choice, offers flexibility. There are 33 subjects to choose from. You will notice that critical skills is available across all of the different groups that are within the arts degree. So, so how does it work? All of the 33 subjects are divided up into 6 groups, and that's for timetabling reasons, okay? And it'll become clearer as we go to that page in a couple of slides' time. Students can choose either 2, 3, or 4 subjects to study in first year, and you can't choose more than 1 subject per group, okay? You have 4 weeks to decide from registration what you would like to do. Okay, so you don't have to decide now. You don't have to tell the CAO now what subjects exactly you are interested in. You have time to do the research, to think about it, and to decide what subjects you are more curious and more interested and passionate about studying with us. Okay, critical skills, it is available across all of the different groupings. So what are critical skills? Critical skills really are, it's something that we piloted a number of years ago because yes, students had great knowledge of the degree area, but they were lacking in a couple of skills like assignment writing, research skills, how to debate, how to be critical and analytical in their thinking. So we figured out that we would offer students the opportunity, I suppose, to learn how to college. Okay, so all of those skills like research skills and writing to a deadline, proper structuring of an essay, how to reference something correctly, how to write a bibliography, that the bibliography has to be in alphabetical order, how to source your material and reference the material or the e-journals or the books that you are reading that are going to obviously add value to your essay or to your assignment. How to do that correctly, basically, because it's not something necessarily that's taught to you at second level, but it's definitely something that's demanded of you at third level. With the arts degree, then, you also have the opportunity to go on Erasmus or study abroad. We are partnered with over 200 partnership universities worldwide. The Erasmus program is all to do with partnered universities in Europe. Okay, and the study abroad then would be further afield outside of Europe, Asia, Australia, and North and South America, and Canada, I believe, are some of the options that are available there. If you'd like to know more about that, you can go onto our international office webpage and have a look at all of the different partnered universities there. So how does it work? You would study first and second year at Maynooth, and then halfway through second year, you fill in a kind of a personal statement piece about why you would like to go abroad to study. And then you would go abroad for your third year, and then you would return to Maynooth after your year abroad to finish your final year. So it becomes a 4-year 3-year BA International. So the arts degree is a 3-year degree for those students who don't avail of the Erasmus or study abroad programs. And if you do, then it becomes 4 years. And if you have any questions on that, please do pop them in the box. So the Maynooth University education, what's so special about Maynooth? What do we offer that's slightly different? We mentioned critical skills, how to research, how to debate, how to analyze, how to critique. Now more than ever, it's really, really important. We are encouraging our sons and our daughters and the students that we encounter not to accept information at face value, because there is so much misinformation and disinformation out there. So how do we know that what we're looking at is good information and good knowledge? You know, it's really about structuring a debate and being critical about the information that you're reading and that you're receiving. If someone says something, well, what's the counter argument to that? So it's really about thinking while you're thinking. Fundamental skills, and absolutely a great skill that you will bring forward into the world of work as well. Electives then are optional for students in second year. These will be 10 credits outside of the subject areas that might make up the primary part of your degree. So maybe you're studying, for example, business, law, and accounting and finance, but you've always maybe you studied Spanish at second level and you'd like to maybe dip your toes in the water and study 10 credits of Spanish at Maynooth. You absolutely can do that. So all of the languages are available. We offer between 25 and 30 different types of electives. So if you Google electives at Maynooth University, it'll bring you to the page where all of the electives are there, and you can decide, if you want, which ones you might be interested in studying, and that's available in second year. Experiential learning then. We have a particular office that deals with experiential learning. So a lot of our degrees, about 80% of our degrees, do have work placement embedded within the degree itself, which is really fundamental, because it's all about being able to apply what you're learning in a classroom setting to a real life work environment. But for those degrees that don't have a work placement, the experiential office offers students an opportunity to be able to apply that learning in a different type of way. So it might be in a research project, or it might be in an internship. Just to note here that we are hosting a webinar on the 19th of January, which is a Wednesday, from 7:30 until 8:30, exactly on that. So how does the work placement office work, and how does the experiential learning opportunity work for students as well? So for anyone who's interested in that, I'll talk about that at the end of the presentation. So here we are, folks, MH101, the 33 subjects divided up into the 6 groupings. So we'll mine down into exactly how it works. So we talked about students being able to study 2, 3, or 4 subjects in first year. So exactly how does it work? Students, I suppose, get the most out of the arts degree by choosing 3 or 4 subjects in first year. But again, it is entirely up to you about which way you would like to design the degree to work for you. If we take group 1, group 1 has geography, German. I don't know if you can see my little thing here. Geography, German, law, mathematics, philosophy, and critical skills. Okay, let's, for argument's sake, say you were interested in studying law. Okay, if you choose a subject from group 1, all of the other subjects become unavailable to study. And the reason this happens is because they are timetabled at the same time. So as soon as you choose a subject from a grouping, the other subjects fall away and they're not available to you. Okay, again, if anyone would like to ask a question on that, please do pop it into the Q&A box and Kay will answer it, or we'll talk about it at the end. So 1 subject per group to make up a maximum of 4. Okay, so each year, regardless of what you study at Maynooth, whether it's on an arts degree or a science degree or an engineering degree or a law degree or computer science or psychology, whatever it is you're interested in, as a student, you have to pass 60 credits. So how does the arts degree work? Each subject that's listed down in the individual groups is at a basic level 15 credits. Okay, so geography is 15 credits, German is 15 credits, criminology is 15 credits, maths is 15 credits. So 15 multiplied by 4, which is the maximum amount of subjects that you can take in first year arts, equals 60. And that's how you can take up to 4 subjects in first year. Okay, so as long as the subjects aren't in the same group, you're good to go. So let's make up an example. I would like to study law. I'm going to study criminology, I'm going to study psychological studies and sociology. So that's what I would choose. What I would choose and what Kay might choose or has chosen in the past and what you folk might choose are entirely different and completely subjective and completely optional and entirely up to you. There are 610 different degree combinations within the arts degree, and that is why it's hugely popular. And again, it offers choice and flexibility. Okay, so we talked about how a student might choose 4 subjects for themselves, but how does it work then if I want to choose 3? That's an excellent question. Can you see here that each subject has, well, not each, some of the subjects have a little target, okay, a little bullseye. So we have geography, we have law from group 1, we have business international, business management and marketing from group 2, we have English and I think international development, our faces are just sitting over that in group 3, we have anthropology from group 4, computer science and music from group 5 and accounting from group 6. That little target there means that you can take that subject as a double. So twice the amount. So 15 plus 15 equals 30. So 30 credits of that one subject. Okay, so half your time spent doing that, and you still have 2 other subjects to choose from. Okay, you just have to be careful when you're choosing those other subjects that, again, that they don't clash because of the timetable. So you can see here that if I wanted to choose double geography, 15 of geography sits in group 1 and the other 15 of geography sits in group 2. So if I was interested in double geography and politics, unfortunately, due to timetabling, that clashes. So you might then decide just to take a single of geography if politics or any of the other subjects in group 6 were very, you were very interested in studying. Okay, again, if that's unclear, folks, please pop a question in and we can go through it at the end. So that's how we can study 4 subjects, and that's how we can study 3 subjects within the arts degree. There are very little options to study 2 subjects right from the beginning. And again, that's due to timetabling reasons and the clashes that might be available. But I think maybe law and business could be one of the options. But if you download the prospectus, there's another group 7 which is listed there, and so it will become exactly clear. There wasn't space on the slide here to have group 7, but on page 45 of the prospectus, which you can download by googling Maynooth University Prospectus 2022, and you can apply to have one delivered to your house, and you can have a look exactly. Are you okay there, Kay?
Yes, I was just going to say I have actually dropped in the URL link to the art subject guide, which explains it in detail into the chat function now.
Amazing.
Just to as a backup to what you're saying there. I'll go off camera now again. I'll
Not at all. No, that's excellent. And thank you so much.
That link is.
Sorry, you muted yourself there halfway through.
Sorry,
no, that's excellent. Thanks,
that's
Kay.
great. That's perfect.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. The Arts Guide, folks, it's definitely worth downloading. It is phenomenal. It has all of the information I'm going to cover today, so you can take your time and you can go through it, in as slow a manner as you like. Unfortunately, we're under a bit of time pressure here today, so I do appreciate I might be rushing through things, and I really hope I'm going at a sufficient pace. But again, that's what the Q&A is for, so do pop your questions in there. You can see here, folks, 33 subjects. A lot of the obvious ones are teaching subjects. Lots of students come on into Maynooth, take 101 because they're interested in becoming secondary school teachers. Obviously, it's not the only career available from the arts degree, and we'll go through that as well. But teaching is an obvious one. We have geography, we have history. Anyone who's interested in becoming a business secondary school teacher, it's business and management that you take, because we're often asked that. There's English. We have all of the languages, okay? So we French, German, Spanish, Nua Gaeilge, which is the same sort of Irish, modern Irish that you would have at second level. We also offer Chinese studies, which is here, okay? So there are advanced languages and there are beginners languages. So maybe there are people here that are interested in taking up a language from the beginning. You can. You don't necessarily have to have had it in your leaving cert if you want to take up a beginner's language. So you can see here this not filled in circle beside all of the languages, and that means that it's offered at beginner's level. Beginner's level, folks, means you have to take 30 credits of it. So you were doing 30 credits of the language and then 2 other subjects. But again, if you do have a language in your Leaving Cert and you would like to continue on at Maynooth University with the language, then it's a H5 in that language, okay? And that would be an advanced level that would be available. So we've all the teaching subjects there. Computer science is a new teaching subject. We've politics and sociology, also a new teaching subject as well. So we have languages, we mentioned that. We have French, German, Spanish, and Nuaguelga, and we have Chinese. We used to have Greek and Latin. They were available in Group 2. They haven't gone anywhere. They just moved into Greek and Roman civilization as an option, optional modules if you would like to do that. Speaking of Greek and Roman civilization and learning all about the history of societies and how they were structured and culture, we have a lot of subjects there that deal with cultures like Greek and Roman civilization, English, and philosophy. Maybe English, you would like to know more about prose and poetry and literature. Maybe English is one of your favorite subjects at school. You can absolutely continue on that at Maynooth. We have lots of subjects here that deal with the practical element of things. You have mathematical studies, you have pure maths, you have mathematical physics, and you have computer science. So computer science and software engineering is all about Java, Python, HTML. Maybe you're doing coding in school and you'd like to continue it on. You can see here that it exists in Group 5. You can take either 15 or 30 credits of computer science in first year. And we'll talk a little bit about the transfer routes that are available to students as well. So you can come into the arts, take certain subjects, and then transfer over into some of the denominated degrees in second year. And computer science is one of them. So it's all about the software engineering. How do computers know what to do? It's all about coding, Java, Python, HTML, and you learn all of those good bits and pieces. So pure maths, then there is a minimum entry requirement, a course requirement of a H2 in your mathematics, but math studies then for those who might be doing past maths or honours maths, but would like to do mathematical studies is more representative of the maths that you might be doing at second level. We have law. Anyone who's interested in Irish law, EU law, international law, all about the laws that govern our society, you might be interested in taking double law in first year. Try it out. It's an interesting subject. You might never have thought about it before. That's the beauty of the arts degree. We've lots of subjects that we have seen, lots of subjects that we do at second level already, but lots of brand new subjects, psychological studies, okay? It's all about human behavior. What makes us behave the way we do? It looks at cognitive psychology, it looks at evolutionary psychology, biological psychology, our memory, our perception, our attention, and how that works and mitigates to determine our behavior. And to what extent does it determine our behavior or not? So it all, it's a continuous road of trying to understand, because there is no one answer as to what determines human behavior, and that's why it is really, really fascinating. We have our business, our business and management, our marketing, which is a particular side of business, price, product placement. We have accounting, finance, and economic degrees for anyone who's interested in assets and how they're managed and how they're traded. Maybe you're interested in learning how to tackle socioeconomic poverty, unemployment, financial instability, and you would get that by studying economics, okay? Macroeconomics, econometrics, and the research skills that are around economics. It is actually one of the areas that you can specialize in. So we do have the opportunity for students to specialize from second year, okay? But let's talk about first year first. So 2, 3, or 4 subjects in first year. And then in second year, then you take your 2 preferred subjects forward. Obviously, we have music there as well. Apologies to music fans. Music is absolutely there, hugely popular. It is a teaching subject, but it's not the only thing that you can do with music. There's music therapy, composition and performance, and musicology as well. Lots and lots of great modules there within the music degree. So lots of choice, folks, lots of flexibility. Year 2. So you bring your 2 favorite subjects forward from second year. So the thing about the arts degree is you can't start second year with brand new subjects. They have to be the ones that you've taken from first year because it has to be the foundation laid. How you study those two subjects then is entirely up to you. I don't want to harp on about teaching, but it's important for teachers out there to know that you take your two teaching subjects into second year and you have to study them at double major. So 30 credits of one teaching subject, let's say English, and 30 credits of the other teaching subject, let's say music. And that's nothing to do with Maynooth University and everything to do with satisfying teaching council requirements. Okay, so that's that. Obviously, lots of other different career choices and postgraduate choices from an arts degree. If that is the case, you're not really interested in teaching, you can still take your two subjects to double major, or you might do a single major. Single major is one subject. You drop the other subject and you focus entirely on one subject. Why might you do that? You just really, really love that one subject. You're entirely passionate about it. You maybe want to do a big research project. You're thinking about doing a master's and or a PhD in the area. Maybe you'd like to become a lecturer and you want to get going on that journey straight away in second year. You absolutely can. Other students then are undecided. They might prefer one subject over another subject, and they might choose to do a major minor, 40 credits of one and 20 credits of another. Again, entirely up to each individual student. There is no right or wrong answer here. The only point that we're trying to make is for teachers, if you do want to teach, then you need to do the double major. But for everyone else, it's entirely up to you. Lots of different, we did mention psychological studies actually here, and I think it is important to mention because I know we had a good couple of questions on it in the last talk. So psychological studies remains hugely popular. Why? Because psychology in all of the universities in Ireland is just really, really popular, and the points are very, very high across the board. And Maynooth University is no different. I know the points are high up in the high 500s with us as well. We do have two accredited psychology degrees in Maynooth. One is the BA MH106, which is a 3-year degree and is accredited by the Psychological Society of Ireland, high points. The second is our BSc Psychology through Science, is a 4-year degree. You do maths, science and psychology in first year, and then it's just psychology second, third and fourth year, also accredited by the Psychological Society of Ireland, and the CAO code for that is MH209. Okay, psychological studies as it sits in the arts degree is not accredited because it is an arts degree subject and it is not an accredited degree in its own right. There's less psychology available to study for students within the arts degree because you're mixing it up with 3 other subjects. And therefore, even at the end of your 3 years, you won't have done the big research project and you won't have studied enough of the psychology modules to warrant accreditation. However, you can apply as an art student for the conversion masters. So you would take psychological studies for 3 years in the arts degree, and then you would apply. It is a competitive route, folks. There are only 20 places available, so you need to be doing really quite well and get a good quality degree. If not a first class honours, then definitely a 2-1. Okay, and apply then for one of the limited places on the conversion masters courses, and then you would be able to graduate after 4 years. So it's 3 years plus your conversion masters, and then off you go. And you can specialize then after that. I hope that makes sense. And again, if you have any questions, please pop them into the Q&A for Kay. So that is that. So we've our first year covered, we've our second year covered, we have transfer options. This is an amazing guide, and I believe Kay has put the link into it now. A guide for first year MH1 art students. Do download it, have a look at it, because it'll talk about how first year works, how second year works, which is what we've gone over. Obviously, MH101 is really popular, and it does remain one of the #1 degree choices on the CAO because it offers students so much choice and flexibility. And here is another reason why: the transfer options. Okay, so we do have lots of denominated degrees in accounting, business, finance, management, international business, marketing, etc. All of the ones that are listed here in front of us, law, and they typically have higher points. Okay, in the mid 400s to the early 500s. So what a student might do and have done and continue to do very successfully is put down maybe one of the denominated degrees as their higher choices on the CAO, but then have MH101 it maybe is a second or third option. Okay. And what this does is then you can take your double of the subject, so double business or double law or double accounting in first year, do well in the subject, pass all your exams, pass the thresholds, and it is different for each of those subjects that I've mentioned. So for accounting, you have to get over 60%. For your business, you have to get over 50%, and your finance. For actually it's 40 for business, 50 for finance, and for law, it's 40%. And then, but don't worry if you haven't caught all of that, it is listed in the guide for you, okay? Then you would apply to transfer over into second year of these following options. Lots of students do it year on year. Lots of the degrees that are denominated might be accredited degrees. So with your accounting, you're exempt from your CAP1 exams. And obviously we know if you want to become a chartered accountant, then there are certain exams that you have to complete, your CAP1s and 2s, and then your chartered accountancy exams in order to be recognized as an accountant officially. So the accounting is such good quality within Maynooth University that you're exempt from your CAP1. Okay, so you can transfer over in a similar vein into business and management. If you take 30 credits of business and management in first year, then apply to transfer over into 404 in second year, and the same, and so on and so forth, all the way down there, folks. LLB is the same, and the BCL. So I'll just go through what the difference is there for those of you who don't know. Our LLB is our 4-year pure law degree. Okay, and you can transfer from the arts into the law degrees. If you want to leave the university with an accredited law degree, you would have to transfer over into either the 501, which is our LLB, which is our pure law degree, Irish law, EU law, international law, as you mentioned. You'd also do moot court, which are mock trials. It's 4 years, it's 60 credits of law over 4 years. It is the most amount of law that you can do at Maynooth. It is the law that is recognized also by American universities, so it's one that you can travel with. The BCL, also accredited by the King's Inns and the Solicitors Association of Ireland, but they're 3-year degrees. So you study less law and you also have it with a different subject. So it could be law and accounting, law and business, law and criminology, or law and arts. So law and arts would be continuing on with one of your subjects that you had in the arts degree. Okay, and the same with music. We mentioned that you can transfer over into the Bachelor of Music again and maybe focus on one of the areas, composition, performance, or musicology, that interest you more. So I hope that makes sense, folks. Specializations then within the arts, we mentioned that you can study 60 credits of something, and they are the aforementioned: anthropology, economics, English, geography, finance, history, international development, mathematics, pure maths, and politics. Obviously, politics is so much more than just party politics. You know, some politics works for us, some politics works against us. How does it impact on the politics that we have in this country, impact on individuals and on families and on society at large? International development, I'm not sure that you know what that is about. It's all about NGOs and how they're structured and how they help developing countries. Are they doing a good job? Are they doing a bad job? What could they be doing better? It's, you know, you don't necessarily have to have a language with it. Lots of students study Spanish alongside it, but you know, it's hugely interesting, and I know they go abroad and on field trips. You'd obviously have to contact the department to understand exactly what is happening during these COVID times. So lots of people say to me, well, what could I do in terms of, sorry, I'm just keeping an eye on the time, so we have time for questions at the end. Apologies there. So what could I do with an arts degree? Like what's an arts degree going to get me? You know, I mean, it's had a bad rap previously, and I don't understand why. Because I always say, well, what can't you do with an arts degree? You know, I mean, is absolutely currency for the rest of your life. And I've pinched that line from my dear colleague Kay Mitchell then. You know, you do your second level education and you do as best as you can, and you generate points that enables you to access a third level education. And then you come into third level education and you work hard and you get yourself a degree, which then helps you academically, professionally, and socially as well. You know, personally is probably a better way of saying it. There's lots of transferable skills from studying at third level, and really the amount of choice and the amount of flexibility that students get within the arts degree, the fact that they can try out different areas and they get great knowledge on different areas of lives, means that they are hugely employable because they know how to engage and think in different ways, a little bit outside the box, which employers are always looking for, people who can think outside the blocks, who can problem solve, who are flexible and who can change when. I mean, who knew 4 years ago that we'd be in the middle of a pandemic? Okay, you have to be able to pivot, you have to be able to move with the times, and it's not always possible, but you know, definitely with a degree, a particular degree that has different subjects on offer to students, where you might graduate with 2 subjects, then it is absolutely possible. So here are some of our obviously teaching, sales, civil servants, regional and urban planner. Maybe you might want to get into conservation or environmental issues, statistics, modeling with Paddy Power, or data analysts, or maybe working in finance or fund management, politics, obviously journalism, political advisors, all of the languages that are available. And we need to be doing better, folks, with languages. We need to have more students that are going to graduate with languages, be it business and languages or languages and global cultures, which looks at anthropology and society and technology. And if we're talking about giving people value for money, then how does knowing about the different cultures feed into that? Okay, so we really need to be more multicultural and get more languages on board. 40% of us, and maybe even higher, I dare to say, are working in jobs that are not directly related to our primary degree. I personally did psychology, and then I did guidance counselling. I know Kay's journey is slightly different. She did nursing, and then she went on to do an arts degree, and both of us ended up in the admissions office at Maynooth University. So go figure. It's all possible. Differences between school and university. There are a myriad, but we're just going to go through a few here today. It's a lot more, I suppose, you know, we can get bogged down in what am I going to study at Maynooth, and the degrees and the choices and the subject, which is absolutely fundamental, because really ultimately we want you to be studying what you're interested and curious to know more about. But also there is the transition. It'll be demanded of you that you become quite self-sufficient and self-directed in your learning. Okay, so you'll have to find out where the lecture theatre is and get there on time and learn how, you know, take down your notes. And then you might be given some piece of work that you have to go and research, or a research project that you're either doing individually or with other people, and really navigate that space. And it can be hugely interesting and exciting, but it also could be a little bit daunting as well. So we do have lots of supports available for students, but at the end of your 3 years or at your 4 years, really that is a huge transferable skill, a huge point of maturity in your life that you're going to take forward into the world of work. How to motivate yourself. We're all working from home. How do we continue to motivate ourselves on a daily basis when we don't necessarily have our bosses over our shoulders? You know, how do we get up? How do we self-start? Okay, and that starts at by coming to 3rd level and having to do those little bits and pieces yourself. Also another amazing difference and a really great thing is you study what you want to do. You're now choosing for the first time in your life. And yes, it can be overwhelming because there is a lot of choice out there. There is a lot of choice. I know it can be difficult, but ask us. That's why we're here. So drop your questions into the Q&A box. Let's get the conversation going. How can we help you know more about what you're interested in? Do you have a question for me there, Kay?
No, I don't, but I
Are we
just
running out of time? Oh my God.
No, we're not. We have plenty of time. But our student, Alana Carroll, has very kindly joined us.
Fantastic.
So I'm actually going to promote her. So Alana, if you're with us there, I'm going to promote you to a panelist now. And you'll be able to come on camera, and hopefully we'll see you shortly. There she's coming. And be able to come in and have a chat with our students when you finish, Fionnuala. I didn't mean to interrupt your chat.
No, absolutely. And it's fantastic that we have Alana here, who is a current Maynooth University student. I believe she's in her final year, and she's going to talk to you in 2 minutes a little bit about her experience on the arts degree. And it's always great to hear a student voice. Anyway, I'll go through it. Study the way you want to study. It's all about managing your work and your after work. So your work being your academic, or maybe you have a part-time job, and then what happens, the play. So all the clubs and socks that you get involved in. And it really is a great and a fundamental part of coming to university. Flexible degree pathways, we talked about it. Maybe coming into the arts, maybe using the transfer route, or maybe not. Or maybe taking a year out and doing a PLC and then coming in. All of that's really important, good stuff to know about. Costs involved. There is obviously a cost of coming to university. Susie grants or finance, studentfinance.ie, apologies, studentfinance.ie, and you'll get information on grants in there. But there is a cost to coming to university. It's about 3,000 plus the 150 registration fee. So we do understand there is a cost involved, but think of it more as an investment in your future. Here are the publications. You can download those. Clubs and socks, we mentioned those. Ask a student. If you'd like to chat to current students, you absolutely can. Okay, download the UniBuddy platform and get chatting. MU Live, we mentioned that. We have webinars on an almost weekly basis on various different topics of life. And here we have all the other events that are coming out through the year. We have sports scholarships. Anyone who's interested in a sports scholarship has to apply before the 1st of April, year of entry. We mentioned the supports. There are so many there available. We do accept here and there, accesscollege.ie. Here are just some of the alumni. But I don't want to take any more time away from Alana Carroll, because I think it's definitely worth listening to her experience. So do you want to tell the people on here today, Alana, a little bit about why you chose the arts degree, what you're studying, and how you found it in general? I hope that's not too broad a question.
Yeah, hi, sorry, for some reason I can't turn on my video, sorry about that, but yeah, no, I chose to do the arts degree anyway because I wasn't really 100% sure what I wanted to do. There's my video now. I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do when I was going into college. I knew I wanted to do Irish, but I was a bit concerned because I didn't want to commit myself to another subject that I wasn't 100% sure on. So that's why I chose to do arts and MNUP, because I knew I had 4 weeks of flexibility and the opportunity to try out so many different subjects. As you said yourself, Nuala, there was 33, like such a range of subjects to try out, and then decide myself what suited me best. So that's why I chose to do arts and MNUP.
Sorry, fantastic. And I think having spoken to yourself in the past, Alana, and other students as well, you can be very much surprised, can't you? Because what you thought might suit you when you were definitely going for, you would obviously try out those particular areas first, but then you have the opportunity to try out other subjects you hadn't thought about, and then lo and behold, actually my plan has changed. I might choose those subjects over the other subjects. So you started with, obviously we have the Nua Gaeilge and the marketing.
Yeah.
And what were the other two that you mentioned just there?
So the other two I chose to do were accounting and critical skills.
Critical skills. We mentioned critical skills. I'm not sure I did a great job in explaining it. Can you just explain to everyone here how you found critical skills and what it gave you as a student?
Yeah, so I suppose even one of the biggest things that it gave me as a student was confidence in knowing what I was doing. So I suppose even as I said yourself, you mentioned about referencing and where to get your sources from. Like even just going into university, it's a big transition from second level to third level. When this isn't something you do in second level, I suppose having that there made me so much more confident in going in and writing an assignment. As well as that, we did presentations, which again gave me the confidence that I suppose, like anybody, you'd be nervous going up in front of the class for the first time, sort of or presenting your work. Like it's a difficult task, but it's something that you're going to do recurringly throughout the 3 years. So it's given me the confidence that I know exactly what I'm doing. Even simple things such as we were told, hold a pen. Instead of holding a sheet of paper, you see your hands were shaking. Hold a pen if you hold something. It's just little simple things like that you would never think of. As well, you mentioned debates, and that really, I suppose, even just for myself, made me more aware of, well, just because you read this in the research, there's always another side to it. And I suppose it made me more aware when writing my assignments, and it made it more interesting that I could get another perspective, and I'd go and I'd specifically search for a different perspective to bring into my assignments.
Yeah, it's so hugely interesting because we're probably not aware of our own biases. You know, the people we hang out with, the schools that we went to, the families that we grow up in, all influence and I suppose shape the way we think about things. So naturally, you might be drawn to one perspective over another. And then to be forced to consider a different point of view can be jarring, but equally exciting. Like I never thought about it that way. Do you know, that kind of a way? Are there obviously tutorials with the arts degree?
Yeah.
So you have lectures and you have tutorials. How beneficial do you think tutorials are to your whole learning experience?
Oh, I think for myself, they've been great. I found them to be really, really helpful in that I suppose I haven't had as many with business, but in Irish, I do have an extra 4 hours a week on top of lectures in tutorials that I find that I'm given the opportunity to ask those questions in a smaller group. And I suppose they might go into a little bit more detail on a subject, which I find to be really helpful and sort of just gives me the clarification that I need when I'm going through the content myself.
Absolutely. No, I was just always trying to talk when I am muted. So that's great. Thanks a million, Alana. And you're obviously in your final year, and I know it's been a mixture of highs and lows. Probably you've gone through the full gamut of things pre-COVID. So you had the full university experience, then you had full lockdown where it was mainly online, and now you have a bit of a blend. So what kind of advice would you give to students about trying to navigate the uncertainty of the world that we live in at the moment without getting too deep about it? But it does put a strain on us all, you know. Do you have any words of wisdom or any tips?
I suppose make the most of the situation you have. Working from home, I suppose for a lot of people it mightn't be ideal. It mightn't be the situation you want. Maybe you're very happy with it, maybe you're not. But I suppose there's no point in getting bogged down about it and saying, oh, I wish I was on campus. Like, this is the situation you'll be given, and I think it's just to make the most out of it. Even, I suppose, not being able to meet friends in person, find an alternative way to do it, I suppose.
Yeah, we did mention the clubs and socks, and I know it's, you know, it's not the most exciting thing having to do a club and sock online, but at least it is an option for people. And, you know, if you are interested in something, you know that if you were to click on to an event that's online, that 90% of the people that are there are also interested in the same thing that you're interested in. So it is kind of an easy way to make friends. Did your friends come to Maynooth as well, or did you just, you know, branch out and just go for it on your own? In other words, how do you make friends, be it pre-COVID times or during COVID times? Like, how do we find people who are like us, who are kind of our tribe?
Yeah, so I suppose I am I only live about 40 minutes from Maynooth, so a lot of people that I went to school with did choose to go to Maynooth, but it wouldn't have really been close friends of mine, more so people that I knew. So I knew people in Maynooth. I didn't have any friends that were in my course, but I suppose even going into lectures, like, everybody's in the same boat. I suppose I was lucky in that I did know people, but there are people there that don't know anybody in Maynooth, and I suppose they're all in the same boat. They're all nervous, thinking, oh God, how am I going to make friends? But just start a conversation with anybody. If you sit down beside someone in a lecture, say, oh, hi, how are you? Like, more than likely they are hoping that they can make friends with you as well. Or else even in your tutorials where you're smaller groups, you're going to be seeing them again every week at the same time. Start a conversation with them, you know. And I suppose then clubs and socks, you know, that if they've joined this club or the society, they have an interest in that. You both have a common interest. Work with that, like, and then, yeah, I suppose, like, it seems daunting when you're trying to interact with a stranger, but it really isn't. And I suppose over time it just gets easier and easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Were there any questions there, or any themes that maybe we should tease out and chat about live? Okay, or what were you going to say? Sorry,
what I'm going to ask Alana is this. I think a lot of students who are coming into arts feel somehow they're being short-changed, and that has nothing to do with anything, only the points, that no matter how much time we tell them is to do with the maximum amount, because we have a massive amount of places on it. But sometimes there's that feeling that they're missing out. And I know you're taking business marketing, you're doing marketing as part of your degree. And I know you're having the same experience in marketing as our marketing students are. And I want you to talk about that, because a lot of students are inclined to think, I'm getting something diluted if I stay in arts. So I want you to talk about that for a moment, because I know it's something I've asked you to address before.
Yeah, 100%. So I suppose a great example of it would be in my group assignments. A lot of the time, say there's 6 people in the group, I would be the only one that would be doing arts. You're doing the same modules as the people who are actually doing the business degrees. there's no difference at all. You're getting the same information, you're getting it at the same time, same place. You never know when you walk into a lecture. It could be 50% arts, 50% business. Like, you don't know the difference between one person and another. You're getting the exact same information and the exact same education. So I think that is definitely a misconception out there that needs to be, I suppose, just put an end to it. Like, it's the same thing.
Exactly, it is the same thing. But no matter how much we try and explain this, they really did think, because they have a different title in the degree. Do your lecturers even know that you're registered for arts, not business?
No.
No, and that's exactly the point I've always made in school. And it's lovely to hear it from the student. And I seem to be asking leading questions, but I know, because we're working with students, myself and Fanula, all of the time. And we know that when you're doing law as part of arts, you're sitting in the exact same class, or economics, or accounting. And that students just can't get their head around that because they went in registration. So essentially, you're not in any way shortchanged or diluted in any way. It's just you have decided to take a double major in 2 different subjects rather than concentrating everything on your marketing. At the end of the day, that's what it all is about, amounts to. A lot of our leaving certs are very stressed at the moment, and because the government is talking about this, doing the other, and the stress is real. And with what happened to points last year and all the rest of it. If you had time to talk to your leaving certificate self again, now that you're in college and have experienced it, what kind of words of wisdom would you give to the leaving certificate, Alana?
I suppose I would tell myself to not stress. That is a very hard thing to hear. Of course, you're going to be stressed, but you're going to end up spending more time being stressed about it than actually putting in the work and being productive. So just try to be as relaxed as possible. Make yourself a schedule and stick to it, and try to make your studying as structured as possible, and take time to yourself as well. It's very hard to continuously study without any breaks. You have to have some sort of incentive. So for example, I know when I was in 6th year, my guidance counselor, she said, well, say you're studying whatever amount every week, at the end of the week on Saturday, get a takeaway or something, or maybe every 2 or 3 weeks, go shopping or go to cinema or do something, just to give yourself an incentive and to give yourself time to recharge and then to keep going, because you will end up burning yourself out if you are not taking breaks. So I suppose that's something that I would definitely tell myself.
I would agree with you. And that's why you need to look at all the options out there. There is more than one way to get a qualification. And where you are now, like now in Leaving Cert, and where you could be in 10 years' time, you can't foresee that far down the road. And like all the educators would tell you this, the most important thing is you choose something that you enjoy, we know that. And you all have your career aspirations and you want the guarantees. But working in the world of work, as I have done now for obviously very many years, you can see that on my face. I've been around a long time. But the reality is, it's all about having qualifications that give you choice, whether it's arts or whether it's psychology or whether it's business. What they all have in common, forget the content, is the fact that they put you in a position as a graduate to be able to come out there in the marketplace and compete, because your skills are common to all, regardless of whether it's business or Irish or psychology or English or history or astrophysics. You're a researcher, you're excellent at timekeeping, you're doing presentations, have you learned, Alana? You're able to handle material very, very quickly, and you can deliver consistently to time. There isn't a job out there that doesn't require those skills. And that's what all graduates have in common. And everybody loses sight of that, I think, you know. That's my 2 and 9 pence worth.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. You're dead right. I've just popped in there if anyone has any other questions for us, folks. We have about 2 minutes left, and now really is an opportunity to ask us anything that you like, or ask Alana, Kay, or myself. I want to ask Alana, what do you attribute your success to? Because let's be honest, you deserve an absolute pat on the back. You've been through the mill and you've come through it, and you're in your final year. What do you think you would put this success down to? You seem like a relaxed person and you can kind of look at the bigger picture and not get too stressed. But what do you say yourself?
I suppose I would say just consistency and structure for myself. I'm a very organized person. I can't deal with disorganization. So I suppose even such a simple thing for me, having a diary and saying, right, well, I've this assignment to do. So I'm going to do 400 words, say of assignment A on Tuesday, 400 on assignment B on Wednesday, 400 on Thursday. And just knowing that, right, I'm doing this much, I'm getting this done. If I go further than that, that's fine. It's a bit more, that's done. If I don't, that's fine. I suppose just having that structure and then having the limits not to go over. I suppose you can very easily get into an assignment and then try to do it all at one time, and then I suppose sort of get very tired or whatever. So I suppose just knowing when to stop as well and take a break. I suppose that's what it's.
Yeah, no, it's sage advice. I think it is really, really sage advice. If you break it down into manageable parts, and I think a top tip that I've heard students who have gone through the process and are out the other end that they have given me and other students as well is don't let it get all on top of you. If you can chip away a little bit at a time, and you know, by tackling, as you said yourself, 400 words of one assignment and 400 words of another assignment, just chip away and chip away and chip away. You'll have most of it done before you know where you are, rather than long finger, sugar. The deadline is tomorrow and you have 2,500 words. It's never going to end well. It's never going to be pretty. So I'd say, you know, attend your do the simple things, do the basics and do them well. Attend your lectures, be on time, note take, and try and keep on top of your studies. Would you agree? Is there anything else I'm missing there? And Kay as well, who's also been through the process.
I would agree. It is all about keeping a structure going. I'm just going to quickly answer a question there because it will be common for all. These webinars are recorded and we just have to go through an editing process for a few days, so bear with us. But they will be available to you on the website. Is all the information in this talk and the MH101 guide. The information on this talk is all on the MH101 guide. How the subjects work in second and third year, how the double subjects and the single subjects work, etc., etc. You can follow up all of that on the prospectus as well if you wish, and these recordings will be available as well. And we'll have open days again on the 30th of April. But I would agree structure is very, very important. And being organised, because I was one of those people who had to have a part-time job to pay my way. So it would be a case of spending as much of my time, making very good use of the time I had in the library to teach, you know, training it, taking it almost like a 9-to-5 job, and yet fitting in those times. You see, lecturers don't mind when you do your study as long as you do it. So it is possible to keep everything going as long as you need a structure. But quite honest, and I agree with you there, Alana, and we both are working in the same area, you do not exist in the world of work without a diary. You absolutely have to have a diary. And I would encourage anybody who's sitting in here from Leaving Cert tonight, you absolutely need a study schedule. It's not too late. You can make a huge amount of ground up from here until your final exams and assessments this year, whatever they may be. But I would say to you, confusion, procrastination, are just literally, they were the defeaters. Getting organised and having a plan. And I could completely concur with you, Alana. It's the only thing that keeps me focused. My plan, my diary, on a day-to-day basis, and you know exactly what you're doing. And that way you don't end up wasting time, really.
Absolutely. Very, very sage advice there, folks. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much to all the attendees who have stayed on, and a huge thank you to Kay for giving over your evening, and to Alana. It's very late and I really, really appreciate it. And I hope, folks, that you've got a lot out of it. Please email us admissions@mu.ie if you've any follow-up or further questions that you would like to ask us. There's no problem at all. And as I mentioned, all of the other ways that you can contact us on social media. We're across all platforms. On our Ask button, we have more webinars on the weekly basis with MU Live. You can ask a student, you can download the Unibuddy platform, chat to a student, you can log on to the website and use the little chat function, which is a little circle. And it is not a bot. As I said, we have admission staff manning that from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and sometimes even at the weekend we give a little sneaky look, but usually it's Monday to Friday, so I'm not going to guarantee any questions answered over the weekend. Okay, folks, listen, thank you so much. Take care. I'm going to end the webinar now. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thanks,
Alana.
Thanks, Emil. Thank you.
Slán
Thanks,
agus
Alana.
beannacht.
Slán, slán go fóill.